Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? My name is Kent and the channel is EOS San Diego, and we are developers on the EOS blockchain with the challenge application. And yes, we are very close to seeing that application become a reality. Actually, it's been a reality, but the final stage, the final version will be up very, very soon. And actually, the more I think about the challenge, the more I think that the application really is more about challenging somebody, the name, actually challenging somebody. I mean, if you want to up the ante a little in a way, not only create a reward for somebody doing something, but actually put a challenge into that reward. Like my good friend James says, you know, we're upping the rewards with the challenge application. You know, instead of being paid a small monetary fee for doing something, we're letting somebody else decide what that reward will be, based on some competition, based on something more than just ununique event that is just something that's put on the blockchain. This is something where somebody else is putting in a personal touch to it. And I think that's very important because, you know, as with anything, even like YouTube pays people to put videos up, but very few people make much money at that. You have to have a sizable account to be to basically live off of YouTube. A very sizable account, I would say, in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I wish not that many accounts are that big. But if somebody challenges you, or somebody said, I'm gonna pay you to make a video, even though you've got maybe a few 100,000 subscribers, not enough probably to live on, but I'm gonna pay you $1,000 a video, because you have a very fine a target market audience, and I'm gonna pay you for those videos because I think your videos will make me back more than my $1,000, or I think that your videos will help me do something that I want to achieve. That is what YouTube and marketing is all about. That's what it's all about. That's what I'm saying with the challenge application. We're putting that competition into it. I remember a while back, I was making YouTube videos, and of course, and actually tonight is my 996th YouTube video. So 996, I got 3 more to do before I hit 1,000 YouTube. So I'll have 1,000 YouTube videos uploaded. But for a while, I was doing DTube. So I was doing them on DTube because I like the decentralized DTube, and I was paid a little bit more money to do them on DTube than I was YouTube. But I found that YouTube's platform was so much easier to do. It's quicker, it didn't take as long. Sometimes on DTube I had to do it over and over and over again because of the way it was set up. And this has been some time ago. This isn't anything against DTube, because I love DTube, but it was just not quite as smooth as YouTube. And I just said, for the difference, I'll just go ahead and do YouTube, because DTube's so much slower. Now that could be different today. Could have changed, and DTube is just as good as YouTube. But at that time, there was enough significance that I wasn't being paid enough reward to stay doing DTube. And I just said, hey, because of the convenience, I'll go back to YouTube. And that's what I'm saying is sometimes there's just not enough monetary reward into it for people to really get excited about doing something. And that's why you need to have the challenge, and you need to have the personal touch, and that's why you need to be able to stake the amount that you're willing to stake or want to stake to get somebody to do something. So I think that's unique to the challenge application. Nobody else has that. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit is I want to talk about EOS, and EOS needing to hire more developers and fewer attorneys. I don't know quite how I'm going to word that in the title, but that's what the title is going to be, because they need more developers and fewer attorneys. Less attorneys and more developers. That's the way I'm going to say it. And the reason why, and I'm not going to hate on attorneys. I know there's enough other people are going to hate on attorneys. I actually myself went to law school. I was never a practicing attorney, but I did go to law school, so I do understand the law. I'm a little bit familiar with it, and I have a lot of respect for it. But anytime lawyers get involved with something, it's going to put the project in slow-mo. And even if you make it bulletproof with a bunch of lawyers, that'll be just, that'll almost be a challenge for some other lawyer to try to say it's not. So EOS, Block One, needs to get more developers, not more lawyers. And like I said, it's not a knock on lawyers. I'm just saying that lawyers tend to create more problems, not tend to create, but they tend to find problems sometimes that otherwise may not have existed or may not even be found or known. So And I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example as Vitalik with Ethereum. I mean, if you want to talk about a project that was almost dead on arrival, it's Ethereum. I've heard before, and I don't know if there's any way to prove this or not, but that Vitalik actually didn't make as much money from Ethereum as everybody thought, basically because he had to utilize so many of his tokens early on just to keep the project going. So he had, just like I was talking to you tonight about burn rate, he literally had to burn tokens in order to keep the thing going because it wasn't doing anything. So Vitalik was able to keep it going. And I don't know the whole story, but I remember hearing a little bit about it with Hawkinson and Vitalik. And of course, they were together early in Ethereum. But I think they had a split. And of course, Vitalik had to keep the thing going, and he started using up his tokens to help keep it going because he had a little different direction than Hawkinson did. But anyway, the project was literally dead on arrival until Vitalik started using his own tokens to keep it going. Well, Vitalik just kept going and kept going. And eventually, he got the thing up and running and doing well enough that developers started supporting him. And he actually got a network effect and a lot of people behind him. Fast forward a little bit. Now the Security Exchange comes in and they say, wow, we think all ICOs could be classified as securities, meaning that they're going to be governed by all the agencies, the Security Exchange Commissions, and all the rules and regulations that come with that. If you're raising money and you're an IPO, or an ICO, not an IPO, initial public offering versus initial coin offering. So they looked at Ethereum and they decided no, that it wasn't a security. And probably the reason they didn't is because by that time he'd kind of outrun the lawyers. He had acquired enough fame and enough recognition and enough developing had been done and enough following that they left him alone. They said, well, no, I don't think it is an ICO, and he's okay, he's good because it's decentralized. Well, that's what I think you got to do sometimes. You just got to outrun the lawyers. And the way to outrun the lawyers is to develop and start building stuff and not to take a step back and say, we need to analyze everything and make everything bulletproof. Now, this is my, I know nothing specific about what they've done. And I mean, I don't even know if they've hired more attorneys or not. I'm just saying, generally speaking, when I hear stuff about hiring attorneys for jurisdictional reasons, I'm starting to think, wow, that's a big broad brush to paint with. Because when you're talking about jurisdictional issues in the world, you may fix them in one area, but you may have a big problem in another area. And I don't think the world does really have a world jurisdictional system, especially for blockchain. And I don't even know how it would be governed throughout the world. So I think what it really takes is it takes mass adoption. It takes a huge amount of people to use it, like it, and love it, and want to continue to develop on it. And I think at that point, then you either join on or you get left behind. And I think that's what you try to do. You try to make it so appealing that you get people just to join on. And then the regulators, the governments, and so on and so forth will probably stay away because they realize that this is something big and people are going to do it. And if they deny it in their area, then someone will just go to another area, much like what people do with the blockchain. That's why a lot of block producers are in certain parts of the world. That's why a lot of coin exchanges are in certain parts of the world, because the laws are much different. So to create a system where you got bulletproof jurisdiction throughout the world, I don't know how well that would work, or even to try to fix certain areas of the world. Because the more you work in one part of the world, maybe there's another part of the world that would be much easier to work with, and maybe your time would be better spent there. I have no idea what they're doing. Just saying, as an overall general analysis, lawyers tend to slow things down, and the more they get slowed down, the less gets done. So my advice would be less lawyers, more developers. I appreciate you watching.